All right, let's talk about absolute sex and world peace. If there were to be considered by all or most people classic images of hell on earth, it might look like one of those images might be tanks rolling into some town, gang members shaking down innocent regular people, one man shooting another man in the street, women having a cat fight over a lover, maybe even schoolyard, lunchroom bully putting a smaller child in a headlock, the mean girls badgering a girl into bulimia or committing suicide, honor killings. Okay, so we're going to talk about absolute sex and world peace. All right, so I'm going to say this fast and loose. You could doubt what I'm talking about if you like, but in the interest of really just putting it out there without laboring too much, they say beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Also, conflict is in the eye of the beholder. Jesus had told the disciples of John the Baptist after John failed to join Jesus. He told John's disciples, he told them, tell John that good things are happening for these people, and blessed is he who takes no offense. See, because taking offense is also in the eye of the beholder. One might say that optimism and pessimism govern how we view things. The same thing can be seen in a positive light or negative light based on optimism and pessimism. And I'll just say that, the Bible also says we love because he first loved us. And one of our contemporaries suggested that people have an emotional bank account, and when their emotional bank account is full, they see the situation as something they can pour love into, or situations may be too dangerous to pour love into, or they may feel in danger of pouring themselves out if they pour love into said situation, right? All of this is an opinion, okay? We're talking about the behaviors and opinions that people choose to dwell on and exercise based on attitude, and attitudes are based on things like a word I created called emotionomics. So according to a person's emotionomical state, if they are emotionally filled, they are able to emotionally be positive. They're able to be positive. So what is hell? Hell is a place where there is just too much emotional debt or emotional negativity. Sociologists are showing that fatherlessness has almost everything to do with juvenile delinquency. What am I getting at? I'm getting at this. People fight with each other not based on material goods, material wealth, or material poverty. They are more likely fighting each other based on spiritual poverty and or emotional poverty. Most of the emotional poverty, and this is my claim, and this is the reason why Reverend Moon talked about world peace, and he also talked about sex organs quite a bit. You say, why does a man of peace talk about sex organs? I'll tell you why right now. Because what we do with our sex organs has a direct bearing on how our families unfold. And how our families unfold has a direct bearing on the psychology of children, okay? If those children are in emotional debt, you're going to have more conflict in the world. If those children are in emotional abundance, you're going to have a greater ability among the people of this planet who can, instead of feeling slighted, give the other guy the benefit of the doubt, okay? So if you want more of this tendency to give the other guy the benefit of the doubt, if you want more of this tendency for people to feel as though they themselves benefit when other people benefit, people who have the time in their heart to think about making other people happy or being concerned with whether or not other people are happy. If you want a world like that, but you want to have party time with sex organs and you want party time with sex organs to be like the norm, you're a goddamn fool. That means you don't understand, and you need a voice like Reverend Moon. And if there aren't people who are telling you that world peace is based on sexual attitudes other than Reverend Moon, then you need Reverend Moon, okay? You don't see that you're in contradiction. You want a world of peace, if you're like most people. But it means you're fallen if you want sexual party time as a national stable of national culture, okay? You do not want sexual party time. That means casual sex to be the cultural norm in your country, if you want peace in your country. Because sociologists have already proven since the late 1990s that for every 10% rise in the single parent rate, there's a 17% rise in juvenile crime. And no community can tolerate 30% single parent rate without becoming an inner city. And an inner city is characterized by bars on the windows of the businesses, and businesses basically eventually fleeing for the sake of their customers. Their customers do not want to walk down those streets and visit those businesses. So businesses pack up and go to safer neighborhoods. So when you have businesses, this is the opposite of gentrification. This is the inner city acidic process, okay? And the number one determinant is, or determining factor, is fatherlessness. This is directly sexual, okay? So that's why I called you a fool. And the nicest way to say it is you just didn't notice the correlation, and science didn't get around till the late 90s of connecting the fact that sexual attitudes have a bearing on local instability, social instability, and or crime, okay? And rest assured, you're not holding me back if you disagree. You're holding yourself back, because ours is not the first community to recognize that, fatherlessness breeds social instability. Because there's an old world word, bastard, that we forgot what it really means. What it really means is, hey, that kid wasn't raised right and he has attitude problems. Okay, that's a bastard. Okay, acting like a bastard is acting like you didn't have anybody to teach you about love and affection, so you don't know the world of love and affection. That's a bastard. Okay, so what's worse than just not knowing about love and affection is actually willing and wishing to do harm for your own purposes, to harm to others for your own purposes, willing to commit crime. Okay, so if you want a world of peace because you think this world is kind of ugly, and a lot of people do, you can't ignore the issue of sexual attitudes, and you can't marginalize people who gained wisdom through various cultural spheres about sexual attitudes. You can't marginalize those people. You can't. No. You're the fucking idiot loser who had nobody to teach you that connection between sex organs and peace, okay? You're the idiot. You're the idiot. And you think you're clever by marginalizing religious people. You think you're clever. You think you're clever, okay? So, I can go into the stupidity of Marxism, calling religion the opiate of the masses. You know what that really means? Oh, religion is the opiate of the masses. Religion basically tries to strengthen sexual attitudes and thereby strengthen family bonds and thereby strengthen inner peace of people. Marxists don't like inner peace because their plan is to use agitated people to overthrow the ruling class. Okay, if they don't have agitated people, how the fuck are they gonna overthrow the ruling class? Who will be their foot soldiers? Okay, therefore they need to either manufacture dissatisfaction, normalize dissatisfaction, or marginalize attitudes that eliminate this dissatisfaction. Okay, and that's why materialists go after sexual purity and religion, because they actually, and the devil actually has them wanting instability. They think maybe on the outside that they want sexual pleasure, and they want to broaden the pool of available sexual partners through their anti-puritanical attitude and stance in life. You know, liberalism. But liberalism is just the puppet of Marxism. Okay, and Marxism is the basic attitude of Lucifer. Ever since the garden, Lucifer wanted to overthrow God's setup. So it's Lucifer who teaches people to be dissatisfied and desire to overthrow the ruling class. Back in the garden, Lucifer made Eve feel dissatisfied. He said, hey, God is trying to trick you out of godhood. I think we should cheat him before he cheats us. You know, so yeah. So yeah. Absolute sex would cure a lot of negative attitudes. And it's not, we don't have to design programs. Love was designed by God. So by letting love do what it do, we'd be letting God do what he do. We really wouldn't have to think it. The problem wouldn't really be something to agonize over. World peace would just be outflowing from human original nature. Okay, so human beings are originally made to be good. And I'm telling you, you cannot be good and have a cavalier attitude about sex. Each woman, according to God's heart, if she were grown, deserves to have her own man. Not to share a man with another woman. That reduces her value to half. Okay? And the same is true for each man. Each man that somebody would give their daughter to him deserves to not to have to share that woman with somebody else. Okay? Human sexuality is a tremendous gift. In order to even understand that, we need to mature. So, you know, that's why it's been the classic prescription. You know, no sex before marriage, no cheating in marriage. I mean, you're not going to walk away from that because you think, you know, oh, this day and age, we're just like so clever. We're just so clever. We're much more clever than, you know, older generations. There's a little bit more detail I've talked about in other videos about Reverend Moon's revelations about sex that even older religious spheres didn't bring about. But he did say, if you simply teach in your nation no sex before marriage as a part of national initiative, if you teach no sex before marriage, no infidelity in marriage, your country will go straight to heaven. He even did a world tour in order to proclaim this in more than 120 countries in a speech called In Search of the Origin of the Universe. So that's all I really have to say off the cuff about absolute sex and world peace.